Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I've got filmmaker Matt Catanzano with me. Hey, Matt.
Hey.
We are on Zoom, and I think I said we were on Zoom the first podcast. Matt just did a nice, high-quality interview. That is the episode before this one. And what I didn't say is that there is a micro delay when you use Zoom. So I don't think Matt and I spoke over each other once during that interview. But sometimes you listen back to it, and with a micro delay, it turns out we do talk over each other slightly. So my apologies if there's sound quality or over talking, but I think there won't be.
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Yeah, we're both such gracious human beings that we never spoke over each other.
I always counted to 5 after you spoke.
That's great.
Like
all that dead air will actually be perfect.
Yeah, deafening silence.
Let's do it right now.
And then I would...
Great podcasting to have. I could only let it go for 2 seconds, and then I had to speak.
It's so difficult for me not to talk.
It's unnatural. All right, so everyone listening should listen to the podcast before this one to learn all about Matt and his career and the path that got him to Film Invasion Los Angeles, where his film Spirits won the Audience Award for Best Horror Short. And this podcast will be, and by the way, if you go to thehappyghostproductions.com, which will be a clickable link, you can check out everything Matt does, because you're going to want to check out his shit, because he's about to answer the 4 questions, which are the Discover Indie Film 4 questions are: name 3 favorite films, name an underrated film, name an overrated film, and name a lesser known film that people should seek out. And when you hear what great taste he has, I mean, I didn't mention the Tarantino guy when you told me you worked at a video store when you were younger, but let's be honest, people who work at video stores have extensive film knowledge. Let's face it, you were probably watching so many great things and not great things, because you have the option to just bring films home every night.
I had the record for most rentals at my store by thousands. It was, you could take 3 free home a night. I was like, I will take 3 free home. I won't necessarily get to all of them, but I'll take them. But yeah, you watch a lot of stuff and you get used to recommending things. And I think that's, it helps with taste, but it also helps with your ability to go if I was going to recommend something to you, I wouldn't recommend just maybe my favorite thing. I would kind of find out what 2 movies you enjoy are and then give you a recommend, so it's, you start to figure stuff out. It's nice. I highly recommend working at a video store.
What's funny is I used to go on Instagram and say, name your favorite film, and then I will tell you what film in the upcoming festival you'll like most.
Yeah, see? That's lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
All right, well, you want to answer number 1?
Yes.
Just name 3 films you love, 3 favorites.
3 favorites. The Goonies, Evil Dead 2, and Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Fantastic.
Easy.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
By the way, I think all 3 of those are, besides being beloved films, great writing.
Great writing. Great performances. Unbelievable performances. I saw the Goonies at a movie theater one time, actually a few times, but anytime I've been able to see it with a crowd, you realize how incredible those kids are. There's so many jokes and funny faces and mugging, and it's really well done. And you see it a million times growing up or at home, but when you watch it with other people and you're all kind of clapping and laughing, it really does hold up. But yeah, those are and then Evil Dead 2, best sequel of all time.
Easily.
Big Adventure, a perfect movie. Tim Burton had his everybody firing all cylinders. Stuff that shouldn't work just does work. Still quotable, PG. It's just an incredible movie.
Bill Hartman and Paul Rubin sat down and wrote the perfect film, the perfect comedy.
My family quotes that. There are line deliveries in that are just in, I think, everybody's DNA, and you don't even realize it. And it's special.
But I mean, in the screenplay books that they put out and tell you to read certain, everyone's supposed to read Thelma and Louise for its structure and this and that. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, perfect structure. I bet that script should be used to teach screenwriting, because the story just moves forward perfectly. Yeah.
Just a boy and his bike. Just about a boy and his bike.
Boy and his bike. All right. Well, hey, you handled question 1 with aplomb.
Thank you.
Now
It was hard for me. I wanted to be like the three G's: Gremlins, Goonies, Ghostbusters, Strangers on a Train. Are we talking about old movies? Then okay, then 12 Angry Men. Certainly 12 Angry Men. Romantic.
oh, those are your
dramedies, say
favorite
anything,
classics.
say
Well,
anything.
because you worked at a video store, like I could have said, all right, feel free to do your favorite drama, whatever. We
Yeah,
don't
you have to do it by that, but we don't have time. But yes,
But you also balanced it, right? Because you went with a pure comedy, a funny kids thing, and then just like the best combo of horror and comedy ever. Like Evil Dead 2, is it not like?
Yeah, there's a Venn diagram where that's in the center of those other two movies. You know, like it's you. I think my personality type, because the other one I was going to mention was Big Trouble in Little China, and I was like, I guess these are all the same. These are all certainly from the same. But this doesn't show a lot of like, and I also really like, but it's there. I think that sums me up pretty good.
I mean, I'm going to do the old person comment, but it's almost like you were born a little late, though, because if you had been born in the 70s, early 70s, or I was born in the late 60s, but if you had been like, you would have loved the era when all that stuff came out the first time and they were in theaters, because I think you probably caught them all on video, right?
Yeah, but I think that's part of it. Is I caught him on video and watched him over and over and over again. So there's this other world where like a lot of the stuff I love is from around the same time, and that's unbelievable stuff was made at that time. But there's also probably something to the idea that I came home from school and watched those movies over and over again. My favorite director is Joe Dante. I think he's the best. But also, like, I've watched The Burbs 1 billion times with my family, and if I had been there when it. If it had only been just a theatrical run that I saw at one time, that might not be the case. It's being able to rediscover these things and watch them over and over that made them favorites.
That is what I miss most about the video store era, was that when you would be looking at the spines of the VHS tapes, trying to pick what to bring home, it was totally natural to bring home something you'd seen before and be like, I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
And because in the streaming era, we have 10 billion hours of, 10 million titles thrown at us. You just never watch something over again because there's too much new shit.
Yeah. I think quarantine was one of the few times that I found other people doing the same thing I was doing, which was like, I was having a very difficult time watching new stuff. I needed the comfort watches. So like I watched The Lost Boys like 30 times. But I was like, I had this entire queue of things that I needed to get through, but I couldn't. I just wanted to see the Frog Brothers fight vampires,
For sure. And we had at that, when quarantine started, I had a 12/13-year-old. So we re-binged Star Wars, re-binged Harry Potter, re-binged all 21 MCU films, in chronological instead of order they came out. Yeah. In order, Although, in all honesty, for her, it was just like, which Chris is more handsome? That's why she wanted to watch those. No, she's into the story. I shouldn't say it.
Yeah.
But which Chris is most handsome is actually a very frequent topic.
It's fair, though.
It is fair. It's fair for a young woman who finds men attractive to. I'm sure the Chris's woke up many a pubescent girl's feelings. But anyway. That's probably not what I should say during your podcast. So here, you want to do question number 2, a film that is underrated?
Yes, underrated. Psycho 2.
That's the one that Anthony Perkins directed, right?
No.
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 Oh, he did 3 or so? I know at some point he directed one.
Yes, I thought he did 4, but...
So Psycho 2. Oh, wait, that wasn't the one with Vince Vaughn?
No, that's like the remake. That was like an actual.
That's the remake, right?
Where they reshot it. Richard Franklin did Psycho 2.
Oh,
but it was written by Tom Holland. Fright Night, Child's Play, real dream.
Oh,
but, Psycho 2 is before we talked about legacy sequels. Before that became like just a thing that everybody talks about. Psycho 2 came along. Psycho 2 is Anthony Perkins. Norman is released. He goes back to the motel. He's just trying to live a normal life after what he'd been through. And he can't tell if he's still hearing from Mother, if he's losing his mind, if somebody's torturing him. It is so well done. And it has a lot of the suspense of Hitchcock, but also with a lot of the, at that time, like 80s splatter. So it's this perfect mix of the two, but it's never mentioned or not mentioned enough, I don't think. Especially when people talk about sequels.
I looked it up while you were speaking, and 1983, and 83 was the era of the slasher. Everything was slasher, and I bet the world was closed-minded to quality film.
Yeah. And Anthony Perkins is unbelievable. He's just like great in it. But it's also like, it is a perfect continuation. I think sequels, especially legacy sequels, often betray what happened before for them to be able to tell like some new story. And Psycho 2 does not do that. It feels exactly like what would happen if Norman was brought back into society and just tried to work as a fry cook.
Mother Scratcher, I never saw it. Now I'm very curious.
You're gonna love it. This is a great.
I always love the first one.
It's October.
The first one's classic.
Yeah, it's October. You're gonna love it. It's great. That and The Blob, 1988. That remake is one of the best remakes of all time.
That was one of the ones that I watched over and over on VHS because in college. Also because of what? Shawnee Smith. I might have. I found her to be just the best lead ever in a horror. That was a fantastic remake.
Frank Darabont, Chuck Russell directed it. It's like it's so good. But also one that I'm like, man, people don't sing that. People talk about remakes being bad. I'm always like, not The Blob, baby.
That's the era. I remember. I know what apartment I was living in that year, so that was the same era as Tremors, and Tremors got all the love, and The Blob deserves a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more.
I'm with you. All right, well, here comes question number 3, which is a film that is overrated.
I feel like that's almost that's shooting fish in a barrel. It's like anytime, a lot of the award winners are always like end up being things that like then we all go like, what was everybody talking? Like I've always felt that way about American Beauty, which I think is probably easy to say now, especially, but like even at the time, I remember like being in high school and there was like the cool artsy kid in my high school was obsessed with that movie when it came out, and everybody was like, he's so deep and that movie is so deep, and like of course he loves it. And I was like, I think everybody's full of shit. Something's wrong here. Yeah, plastic bag, it's blowing around. I don't know. The end is like a weird farce of like Austin Powers-esque, like thinking he's like, doing oral sex on him, but he's really just like going up and down by like a coffee table. It's like stuff that's like, this shouldn't work. Am I supposed to care that this adult man is like, ooh, a high school student? Like, it's all kind of bad. So that would be
That's true. You bring up, it's funny because I do have fond memories of the film from when it was first released, but I got to admit, yes.
There's a couple great bits, but especially watching it in any lens of now, it is so much of the like,
oh my God. Well, first of all,
so hard to be wealthy and white.
Spacey got rightfully canceled.
Yeah. The guy's gone. So now like, being like, he was great in it, though. You're like, no, we don't.
Well, also, and the fact that he is obsessed with
not
an
great
underage girl, and that's not portrayed as a deficit.
No, it's not. You're rooting for it's all bad, I think. So that's an easy one for me to just go like, hey, it's overrated. It has an award, and I don't think that it should.
The awards are of their time, but for sure. I'm with you. Even though if someone else had said that's one of the best films ever, I'd be like, I'm with you. But yeah, for sure.
There's another really quick one, but like it doesn't have any of the problematic stuff. Is I think The Hurt Locker is an unbelievably well-directed film by Catherine Bigelow. I wish it didn't win Best Screenplay against Inglourious Bastards, which is like a 6,000-page screenplay of nothing but dense dialogue, and then probably a 15-page screenplay but unbelievably well directed and tense and wonderfully acted. And like almost every part of it is wonderful. I just wish it didn't win Best Screenplay, which is probably unfair, but
that's super fair. I'm with you 1,000%. I mean, not to accidentally stab your Massachusetts roots, but I think Good Will Hunting winning Best Screenplay was one of the worst Oscars I ever saw. Because
that I can't legally agree with.
You can't legally agree with me, right? But
so I do need this part even scrubbed because I need to be that I disagreed. Those boys, they're geniuses.
Best script ever.
How do you like? Right. How do you like them apples? Best line in movie history.
For sure. I mean, they invented that line.
Yeah, it's on layaway. Oh my god, the movie's perfect. He stole my line. Okay, never mind.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I shouldn't have gone there. But I respect you for staying loyal.
Have to.
All right, last one, right? Last one is a lesser known film that people should seek out.
Yes. I'm going to give you two. An older one, Dead and Buried, 1981.
Right, which came up in your interview with the puppet. Oh, yeah. You recommend the puppet watch that.
Yeah, me and the puppet watched that one. That is a movie I love. It is like a really messed up Twilight Zone episode, but I'm surprised more people don't love it. It's got Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka. It's a slow build. It's atmospheric. It's the type of movie that you watch and you go, oh, that's not made anymore. And I kind of wish it was, because it is weird. It's got a great reveal.
I love the Twilight Zone reference. I think if anything, hopefully Jordan Peele has made everyone aware that Twilight Zone vibe works. Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched that movie Cobweb. It went straight. It was in theaters for a day, but it came out in the summer instead of in October. But it's it was great, and there's something about a Twilight Zone type movie where you're watching it wrong if you're trying to understand the reality. It's a feeling. It is this town doesn't totally make sense, but that's the point. It's off kilter, and if you can watch it from that angle, there's a lot of charm to be had. And then the newer one I was going to say is Spontaneous, 2020. Brian Duffield. Brian made a movie called No One Will Save You that just came out on Hulu. But his first movie is called Spontaneous. And it's one of the few movies that I have watched multiple days in a row when I first saw it, because I adored it. So I can't recommend it enough.
Fantastic. And should I check out Cobweb? I hadn't heard of Cobweb.
Yeah, watch Cobweb too. It's weird. It's a weird movie. It just came out. I wish it came out in theaters right now in October. I think it would have really found an audience. But I think if you watch it from that lens of I'm not trying to, nothing in this makes sense, but I'm going to go for the ride. It's got a nice little Halloween vibe.
One of my favorite movie quotes is from, oh my God, Home of the Brave, Home of the Brave, where Bill Murray is playing Hunter S. Thompson. And I think in the first scene, he just pauses and he goes, "It never got weird enough for me."
Where the buffalo roam.
Where the buffalo roam. My God, thank you.
You're welcome. I used to work at a video store.
How do I get that wrong? I guess it was
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, though.
Never got weird enough for me. Yeah, I've never seen a film and said that's too weird.
Yeah. I feel the same. If you don't betray your own reality, then I'm on board for whatever.
That's like saying I would have liked it, but it was too original. I'm like, yeah. God forbid something be original.
Yeah. Whoops.
Different. Could I please see another one where superhero meets supervillain, almost loses and then wins? Can we get that some more?
Sometimes the supervillain even has a good point, and I find that so interesting.
You just quoted me by accident.
Wow.
You had a really good point. I think I think the end of Infinity War, that was where it should have stopped.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were all done. What a great ending too. It's now every time I do it, I'm like, you already did it though. Wait, you have to wait a decade and then give me some more. I'm good. I'm out.
That was a happy ending. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well,
I'll get us out of here. I already mentioned your website. It'll clickable link at thehappyghostproductions.com. People can get to everything related to Matt Catanzano right there. Okay. And I will get us out of here. This is the Discover Indie Film Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I always forget this part, but like and subscribe. Be nice. Maybe even write a review on whatever podcatcher you're listening on. If you want to learn more about this podcast or the TV series born from it, go to discoverindiefilm.com. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. That TV series I mentioned, just go to Amazon Prime Video and type in Discover Indie Film and pay a couple dollars to support indie films. Those are all shorts handpicked from the festival circuit. I met Matt because his film Spirits, as I said at the top, was at Film Invasion Los Angeles in June of 2023, where it won the Audience Award for Best Horror. If you want to learn more about that festival we hold every June, go to filminvasionla.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. The sister festival we hold every November is Sherman Oaks Film Festival. And that's ShermanOaksFF.com and at ShermanOaksFF on social media. And lastly, because I have no respect for my personal time, I started a thing, I just couldn't help it, called TVHi. If you go to watchtvhi.com, or if you go to the App Store of Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, iPhone or Android mobile, just type in TVHi. See what you get. It's a new streaming service. It only costs $4.20 a month. You get a free week trial, or if you use the code STREAM420, you get a free month to check shit out. It's all great indie stuff. Also some classics like Nosferatu and Metropolis, because I found out those were in public domain. So
Dementia 13.
People should check it out. All right. Matt, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening.